This code artifact demonstrates LangGraph's structured evaluation mechanism for document relevance assessment in retrieval-augmented generation pipelines. The implementation employs a Pydantic model to enforce binary scoring constraints and leverages a dedicated language model instance with temperature-controlled deterministic output to evaluate semantic alignment between user queries and retrieved contexts. We're about to examine how the system initializes a specialized grader model and implements conditional routing logic that branches execution paths based on relevance scores, using literal type annotations to maintain strict workflow control between document validation and subsequent processing stages. From Pydantic import base model, field. From typing import literal. Grade prompt equals. You are a grader assessing relevance of a retrieved document to a user question. N. Here is the retrieved document. \n context \n/n. Here is the user question. Question \n. If the document contains keywords or semantic meaning related to the user question, grade it as relevant. \n. Give a binary score, yes, or no score to indicate whether the document is relevant to the question. Class GradeDocuments base model. GradeDocuments, using a binary score for relevance check. Binary score, SDR equals description equals relevance score. Yes if relevant or no if not relevant. Grader model equals init, chat model GPT, temperature equals 0. Def GradeDocuments. State, messages state. Literal, generate answer, rewrite question. Determine whether the retrieved documents are relevant to the question. Question equals state messages 0, content. Context equals state messages -1, content. Prompt equals grade prompt. Format question equals question. Context equals context. Response equals. Grader model. With structured output GradeDocuments, invoke. Role, user, content, prompt. Score equals response binary score. If score equals yes. Return, generate answer. Else. Return, rewrite question. This code implements a document relevance grading system using a structured approach with Pydantic models and conditional routing. The GradeDocuments function serves as a conditional edge in a LangGraph workflow, determining whether retrieved documents are relevant to a user's question. The system uses a dedicated grader model, GPT-4, one with temperature, to evaluate document relevance through a structured output schema, GradeDocuments. This binary classification approach provides clear routing decisions, either proceeding to answer generation or triggering question rewriting. The prompt engineering focuses on semantic relevance rather than exact keyword matching, which helps handle the nuances of natural language queries. The conditional routing pattern is particularly useful in retrieval-augmented generation systems, where document relevance directly impacts answer quality. By separating the grading logic into its own node, the architecture maintains clean separation of concerns while enabling dynamic workflow paths based on content evaluation. This approach trades off some computational overhead for improved answer accuracy by preventing the generation of responses from irrelevant documents. Let's break it down. From Pydantic import base model, field. Imports base model and field from Pydantic for defining data models with type validation and field customization. From typing import literal. Imports the literal type from Python's typing module, which enables specifying that a variable or function parameter must be one of a specific set of literal values. Grade prompt equals. Defines a constant, grade prompt, as a multi-line string that will contain a prompt template for grading or evaluation purposes. The opening parenthesis indicates this is the start of a string that will span multiple lines, though the actual content isn't visible in this segment.
You are a grader assessing relevance of a retrieved document to a user question. N
sets up a context for evaluating document relevance by defining the role as a grader that assesses how well a retrieved document matches a user's question.
Here is the retrieved document. \n context \n.
Displays a formatted string that presents retrieved document content with clear section headers. The output begins with "Here is the retrieved document," followed by 2 new lines, then inserts the actual document content via the context placeholder and concludes with 2 more new lines. This creates a clean, readable presentation of document retrieval, results with consistent spacing.
Here is the user question \n.
This line formats a string that includes the user's question, prefixed with "Here is the user question," and followed by a new line character. It appears to be preparing the question for display or further processing in the system.
If the document contains keywords or semantic meaning related to the user question, grade it as relevant. \n
defines a relevance grading rule that marks a document as relevant if it contains either exact keyword matches or semantically related content to the user's question. The rule combines both literal keyword presence and conceptual meaning as criteria for determining document relevance.
Give a binary score, yes, or no score to indicate whether the document is relevant to the question.
Instructs the system to evaluate document relevance by returning a binary yes or no score, indicating whether the document contains information pertinent to the given question.
Class GradeDocuments base model. GradeDocuments, using a binary score for relevance check.
Defines a class, GradeDocuments, that inherits from base model, with a docstring indicating its purpose is to grade documents using a binary score for relevance checking. The class structure suggests it will contain methods or attributes for document evaluation, though specific implementation details aren't visible in this segment.
Binary score, SDR equals
declares a field named binary score with type annotation, SDR, using Pydantic's field function, indicating this will be a string attribute in a data model with potential validation or metadata configuration. The line shows field definition in progress, but doesn't reveal the complete configuration parameters.
Description equals relevance score. Yes if relevant or no if not relevant.
Defines a string variable named description that specifies the expected format for a relevance score, indicating it should be either yes for relevant items or no for non-relevant items.
Grader model equals init, chat model GPT, temperature equals 0.
Initializes a chat model named Grader model using the GPT-4, one model with a temperature setting of 0, which ensures deterministic outputs by disabling randomness in response generation.
Def GradeDocuments.
Defines a function named GradeDocuments that takes no parameters. The function signature indicates this is the start of a function definition, but the implementation details and return type aren't visible in this segment. The purpose would be to process or evaluate documents in some way, though the specific grading logic isn't shown here.
Literal, generate answer, rewrite question.
Specifies a return type annotation indicating the function returns either the string literal generate answer or rewrite question. This is a type hint that restricts the possible return values to these two specific string options.
Determine whether the retrieved documents are relevant to the question.
This docstring describes the purpose of a function that evaluates the relevance of retrieved documents to a given question. It serves as a clear, concise declaration of the function's intent, indicating that the implementation will perform some form of relevance assessment between documents and a query.
Question equals state messages 0. Content.
Extracts the content of the first message from the state dictionary's messages list and assigns it to the variable question. The state is expected to be a dictionary containing a messages key that maps to a list of message objects, where each message has a content attribute. This line specifically retrieves the content of the message at index 0 in that list.
Context equals state messages -1. Content.
Extracts the content from the most recent message in the state's messages list and assigns it to the variable context. The code accesses the last element of the messages array using -1 indexing, then retrieves its content property.
Prompt equals grade prompt. Format question equals question. Context equals context.
Formats the grade prompt template string by substituting the question and context variables into their respective placeholders, producing a complete prompt string ready for use.
Grader model.
References a variable named grader model that holds a model instance used for grading or evaluation tasks. The specific model type and configuration aren't visible in this segment, but the identifier suggests it's responsible for assessment functionality within the system.
With structured output grade documents, invoke.
Configures the current object to use structured output conforming to the GradeDocuments schema and immediately invokes the operation. The method chain specifies that any output will be validated and formatted according to the GradeDocuments structure before being returned.
Role, user, content, prompt.
Creates a list containing a single dictionary with two keys. Role set to user and content set to the value of the variable prompt. This structure represents a user message in a conversation format, where the prompt content is provided by the user.
Score equals response binary score.
Extracts the binary score value from the response object and assigns it to the variable score. This assumes the response object has a binary score attribute containing a numeric value representing some form of binary classification or scoring result.
If score equals yes. Return, generate answer.
Checks if the variable score equals the string yes, and if true, returns the string generate answer. This is a conditional statement that evaluates the value of score and returns a specific string literal based on the comparison.
Return, rewrite question.
Returns the string literal rewrite question as the output of the current function or method. This indicates that the function's purpose is to signal that a question should be rewritten, likely used as a control flow mechanism in a larger system where different string return values trigger specific behaviors. This implementation showcases LangGraph's conditional routing pattern, where document relevance determines the workflow path. The system uses a dedicated grader model with temperature 0 for deterministic binary scoring, enforced through a Pydantic model that restricts outputs to yes or no. The prompt engineering combines keyword and semantic matching to handle natural language nuances, while the conditional logic cleanly separates relevant documents, triggering answer generation from irrelevant ones, prompting question rewriting. This design trades some computational overhead for improved answer quality, by preventing responses from irrelevant contexts, demonstrating how structured evaluation can enhance retrieval-augmented generation pipelines.
The binary score whispers yes or no, while grade prompt shouts questions it already knows the answers to.